G'day Snappers, and welcome back to another edition of Snapping with the Stars. We've got another very special guest to introduce you to today, but before we do that, let's take a look at what she's been up to lately.
It's going to be a great finish, and neither of these girls have ever won a 5K national title.
There it is.
Jen LaCaze.
Just holding on 250 metres left in the home straight. She's going to win her first 5,000 metre national title. She'll get close to a PB.
Yes, it's going to be a great finish, and gee, Jen,
national title over 5K and fantastic. She's happy 15:43.85 milli.
So as you saw there, she's the current national 5,000 metre champion. She got a silver medal in the 3,000 steeple. She's been to an Olympics. She's just been picked for another one.
Please welcome Jen LaCaze.
So Jen, welcome to Snapping with the Stars. Great to have you on board. Why don't you kick things off by telling us a little bit about where you're from, what you did as a kid, how you got into running, and where you are right now.
Hello everyone, my name is Genevieve LaCaze. I'm a 3,000 metre steeplechaser and I also do the 5,000 now. I'm here to answer some questions. I'm at Mount Laguna in the USA, so I've got some time to kill, so send through some questions for me. First question is, do I miss Sam Spicer and Tom Thorpe pacing me at sessions in Melbourne? Of course. I'm very lucky in Melbourne. I have a great setup and I have a few boys that help me in my sessions and set the pace and make it a little easier. So I'm very thankful for them, and it'll be good to see you guys again at the end of the year. Would I ever consider coming to Stawell next year? Yes, I would love to. It's just poorly timed for us in the year, but if I got the opportunity to, of course.
Well done, Sam Spicer and a few of you others at getting in very early with your questions. But Jen, you need to answer my question first. And they are, where'd you grow up? What'd you get up to when you were a kid? How'd you get into running? And where are you now? And a question here from Donch, who says, what was your childhood dream?
Sorry about that. I definitely jumped the gun with those questions. Sam snuck one in, so I felt a bit of loyalty to MTC to answer it. Okay. I grew up on a farm in Mount Tamborine. It's an hour inland from the Gold Coast. I was there until I was about 9. And I have 3 brothers, so I didn't really spend much time with friends from school or anything. I just grew up with them, playing on a farm and running around, and I think that's probably what got me into a very active lifestyle, and I really enjoyed running and riding a bike. And yeah, just general kids stuff, I guess. I got into running because you had to do the cross-country carnival at school. It was compulsory. So I was forced into this sport against my own will. So from there we ended up moving closer to Brisbane and going to a high school called John Paul College. And I, again, started running there because my parents needed me to go to a before-school care because they had to leave for work reasonably early, so I needed a sport to kind of do before school started, and running club started at 7 a.m. and so then I kind of started to get a little bit better, and I won a few school carnivals and went to districts and regionals, and I guess it kind of stemmed from there, and I started to love it. I'll fast track it a little bit because I only have 15 seconds at a time and it's really frustrating. I ran all through high school and did pretty well. I consistently would get in the top 3 at nationals from about grade 6 onwards all the way till my senior year. So I was always in the top 3, and I probably started track maybe grade 9. I wasn't that great at it. I used to kind of just do too many events, I think, and didn't really know which one was the best. But it definitely made me very durable and athletic for when I was offered a scholarship to go to America to University of Florida. And that's when I became a gator, and I was thrown into the steeplechase because they needed a steeplechaser at the time, and I just ended up really enjoying it. I would run all events from the 1500 up, but I think steeplechase was definitely where my coach wanted to start pushing me. Then my senior year was 2012. I realised the Olympic qualifier wasn't that far away, and I just kept working at it to get the time, and I had to do a 9-second PB to get the qualifier, but I also was 2 days too late, and I'm sure everyone knows that story. I caused a bit of a fuss with and not getting the time in a certain date, but lucky for me, I had a lot of people help me out and get me to London and really start my profession. Okay, the sound stopped working somewhere along there. So I'll answer that last question. Childhood dream. I loved animals, obsessed with them. So I used to beg my parents if I could have 1 million puppies to fill the house up So yeah, I just wanted to help sick animals. But then when I went to college, I realized to study for that and become a vet, it's crazy. So I settled for sports science to become a physio and did that course for 4 years, and now I have to do my master's if I want to become a qualified physiotherapist.
Hey Jen, it is Mossman here. I've got a couple of questions from your biggest fans. Taryn asks, what's your most embarrassing pre-race moment? And another question from EU Bio says, what field event would you do?
Most embarrassing thing that's happened before a race would have to be University of Florida. We used to have white uniforms, so that means white, like bummers, spandex things, and I did a few little warm-up water jumps to prepare myself, but didn't realize that if you don't wear anything under the little bummers, that they would go see-through. Like all the sprinters and everything knew that you'd wear undies underneath to cover yourself. But I've gone into the call room ready for my race in white spandex, and they've gone completely see-through before my race, and I panicked. But I think I ran really well, so it didn't matter. Ultimately, that was probably the most embarrassing thing. I'm sure there are others, but that one really stood out to me. To be honest, I would love to do a field event. That would be, I think it's really glamorous, especially for TV time. So I would say that my chosen field event, if I could do one, would be long jump, because I think that the camera, at like the major championships, the camera kind of just like sits on them while they're doing their kind of like mental preparation, and then they're thinking about their run up, and then they do their run up, and then they land in the pit and they get up and they kind of look at the sand and they look up at their coach, and I just think it'd be really cool. You kind of like, it's a very glamorous. And if you haven't noticed, Brooke Stratton's Instagram videos and Instagram pictures are really, really cool when she does a really big jump, because she's like flying.
Well, there you go. Very revealing, Jen, and you're probably pleased to know that they haven't gone for white spandex in the Aussie Olympic team uniform. All right, next question from Derek, who says, what's the biggest misconception about steeple? And Sammy wants to know, what's been your biggest steeple fall?
Yes, I'm glad we've gone with the green and not the white spandex for my event at the Olympics. I have now done a wardrobe change into my pyjamas, so that is why I'm wearing this. Biggest misconception about the steeple, I would say that people might think it's an easy event, easy to qualify and be selected. It is actually a super tough event on your body. You got to be durable. It's a lot of impact going through your body every time you jump, which makes it super high risk for any athlete to do. So yeah, it's not easy. I'm hoping to also qualify for the 5. Take some stress off me in the steeplechase, because the body can only do so many steeples, I think. And speaking of the steeplechase being tough, the next question was my worst fall. 2013 for sure. I was doing a race in the Birmingham Diamond League when I had 2 laps to go and hit the water jump and just came down awkwardly on my ankle and fractured my right foot. My talus bone completely sheared it in half and fractured my navicular as well. So I was in a moon boot for about 3.5 months and definitely didn't do much running for a very long time. So hopefully I've got all my bad falls out of the way and I won't have to go through that again, because that was pretty hectic. And now I am off to bed. I think we will reconvene in the morning. Over to you, boys.
Yes, well, thanks, Jen. Off to bed now, rest up, and we'll catch up for some more questions in the morning. And of course, a big thanks to you guys for sending in all your questions. We're going to try and get to as many of them as we can. But for now, on Snapping with the Stars, we're going to have a little intermission. And to take you out to the break, here's a few more clips of some of the things Jen gets up to.
Into Kilmore Street, the run for home and putting on the afterburners, Genevieve LaCaze. Duncan trying to respond, but I don't think she's going to be fourth. Pace hitter Rosa Flanagan back and fifth, but coming up to the line now, holding out the strong finishing Duncan. It's Genevieve LaCaze of Australia first.
Comes a party when someone jumps up on stage. Australian steeplechase runner Genevieve LaCaze busted a few moves of the dancers, and she spoke afterwards with Mark Howard about.
A little bit of claim to fame. Now that I've got that, I'm turning 25 in a few hours, so we'll see where we go from here. We'll kick on.
Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry for the little break. Time zones got us. I'm here to answer a few more questions from last night. My weekly mileage would be anywhere between 90 and 100k a week. I try to stay in there if I'm not racing. I don't mind if I go over 100 a little bit during like a hard training block. That's not like a big deal, but I usually float around. My longest run in an average training week would be 80 minutes. I don't like to go over that. However, since being at altitude here at Mount Laguna, the long run loop is actually 20k, but it takes me 90 minutes because it's just really hilly and tough terrain, so that would definitely be my longest run at the moment. What do I typically eat each day? I stick to a routine and I don't really venture out of that much unless you know, I'm eating out or it's for an occasion or something, but I usually have a banana and a coffee before every run to wake me up. Then I get my protein in. After my run and I've had my protein, I'll usually have like a brunch because it's more closer to lunch than breakfast, and that's usually eggs. I like to boil 2 eggs, put them on like a bed of spinach with cottage cheese, avocado, tomato, ham, and just mix it all together. Very nutritious and lots of protein. Later on when I get hungry, I'll have a gluten-free cereal or Greek yogurt and bananas, something like that. It kind of depends what I have on during the day. I snack quite a bit just because big solid meals when I have another training session or gym or something don't really work with me. So I tend to just graze a lot on bars and snacks, but stick to a lot of fruit and yogurt to get some calcium and protein in. And dinners are pretty straightforward. It's some form of meat and vegetables and some form of carb. Like I said, I like to eat gluten-free, so that usually consists of the carb being potatoes or rice or quinoa or something along those lines, just to keep it clean. My toughest workout, I would have to say on average, is always my Saturday sessions. We do hill reps and they are their killer. The typical one we do each week, especially at training camps, is 6 by 800 meter hills, as hard as you can go. So that really, because it's aerobic and anaerobic, if that's possible. So by the end of those 3 minutes, you cannot breathe. And then you add being at altitude. Luke said it describes it as it feels like you're breathing through a straw. It's really tough. So that would have to be. Though my favorite workout would be Tuesday track sessions. I really enjoy doing fast stuff. For example, yesterday we did some really fast 400s. I did it with Selma. And for those of you that don't know, Selma is an 800 meter runner, so she was pushing me pretty good. We had to do 5 400s at 62. So so that probably tested me to my ultimate limit, but I really enjoy that sort of work. I just don't think you can get that sort of practice anywhere else. If I could design my own NB spikes, they'd definitely be pretty simple. We were talking about this today. Me and the MB boys, we reckon that the best spikes would be similar to the LD 5000s for me, for distance spikes, but have them all black with a white N, or all white with a black N. I think that's very simple, classy, and it's a statement. I've put a word in with New Balance, so hopefully they come out in the next 12 months. If I could live in any other country other than Australia, I would say I'd love to live in England. We base just outside London for about 4 months of the year, and it's a really pretty place to be during the summer. So I don't know how I'd go in a winter, but I can vouch for their summers, and it's the coolest place to be. So yeah, probably London I'd live. Favorite place to run would be here, Mount Laguna. I love this training camp, definitely one of my favorite places to be all year round. There isn't too much to do, but I think that's what I love, because we train so hard and rest easy. So I think that's really important with running. And we get to hang out here. Not much going on, but it's very pretty, and if the weather's right, it's much more enjoyable.
Well, thanks so much, Jen. Last couple of things before we let you go. Firstly, your dream run. Now, if you could run a race anywhere in the world against anyone, past or present, who would it be and where would it be? And finally, let us know where we can follow you on all your socials and keep up to date with what's going on with your training. Thanks again.
Robbo, firstly, love the shirt. Go MB. Dream race, anywhere against anyone. I think that's an easy one. I'm gonna say rewind 16 years, Sydney Olympics 2000, home crowd, running the steeplechase on that track would have been just phenomenal. Words wouldn't be able to describe. No one in particular, I guess, to race. I would just love to take that field on home soil and race in the home Olympic stadium. I think Commonwealth Games 2018 will have to be the next best thing, so looking forward to that. So thanks guys for tuning in and listening to me talk 15 seconds at a time. I have enjoyed this. Thanks a lot, Mossy and Robbo. I will continue to update my journey on all social media outlets, so follow me.